Hello, I'm Lelda Smits for the Finance News Network, and joining me from Seek is its co-founder and CEO, Andrew Bassat. Andrew, welcome to FNN.
Thank you.
Seek stock has hit record highs this year. What do you believe has catapulted the company to this point?
Look, we've grown our earnings a lot, and that's been driven in part by the fact that our Australian business continues to go forward, but particularly by the fact that our international business and education businesses have really grown very well.
So how do you plan to sustain and grow on the success you've enjoyed since you listed almost 10 years ago?
Look, we're very optimistic about the future. We feel the growth opportunities in front of us are very substantial. We're in very large markets now, like China, like Southeast Asia, like Brazil, like Mexico. They have many, many years of growth in front of them, as do our education businesses.
Now the company is focused on employment, education and international expansion. What opportunities and goals have you identified for each?
Look, I think even in Australia, we think we can do a much, much better job of matching people to opportunities. In all of our international markets, which are very, very large, we're hoping to do as well as we do in Australia in those markets. And in education, we want to really roll out what we've done in Australia into all of our international markets.
Now, Seek originally began as an online job ad form. How has your offering evolved, and what's your current market share in Australia?
Yeah, look, I'll start with the second. Our current market share is about 70%. But where we've really evolved is we want to help people more than we do. We want to do a much better job of matching to the opportunities. We want to help them to communicate better with the advertisers and so on. And we really think that we can be responsible for many more placements if we do that.
Many would consider Seek to have a monopoly on the online jobs market in Australia. But have you identified any competitors or new entrants that you need to consider?
Look, in our space, there's always new entrants. So there's people like LinkedIn, there's a bunch of aggregators, there's a range of new competitors. We've managed to continue to grow our share of anything as a result of continuing to evolve our product and service.
You beat the competition with innovation, but now that you've grown so large, to what extent do you rely on innovation to keep moving forward? Or has your ability to innovate diminished now that you are so large?
Look, we take a view that forget about our market share. What we want to do is help people more. So we're well ahead of our competitors, but we're only responsible for 25% of all placements in Australia. We want to be responsible for 100%. So there's many things we need to do better to increase that number from 25% towards a higher number.
Okay, and for those watching who may be on the hunt for employment opportunities themselves, what emerging employment sectors have you identified that may be rising in demand?
Yeah, look, you really find, clearly in Australia we're in a bit of a movement away from the mining sector, whereas a few years ago the mining sector was really sustaining employment, engineering jobs, mining jobs and so on. That's moved a bit. Now the eastern seaboard's picked up a bit, states like New South Wales, Victoria picked up a bit, and some of the other sectors have picked up. But living outside the cyclical trends, obviously things like the science area, technology, maths and a range of areas where not enough graduates coming through are really good opportunities.
Now looking abroad, Seek also invests in global online employment marketplaces. Could you outline your exposure offshore and plans to grow your offering?
Sure. Look, we're now in a number of markets with controlling stakes. We've got the equal number one player in China. We've got the clear number one player throughout Southeast Asia. We're in Brazil in a very strong way and in Mexico, as well as having smaller presences in Africa and Bangladesh. So substantial presence all in early stage markets, and we want to both do a much, much better job in those markets, as well as continue to expand.
Your 79% owned Chinese job firm, Zhaopin, listed on the US stock exchange in June this year. What role do you see the company playing in your portfolio in the future?
Look, China should over time be an enormous market, so we're very excited about Zhaopin, we're very excited about the listing, and we're hoping that in a few years' time Zhaopin could be a bigger business than our Australian business.
Which nations do you believe are best placed for rising job demand, and where will Seek be targeting?
Yeah, look, I think the fortunate thing for us is all the markets I mentioned that we operate in are earlier stage markets where there is a lot more job growth than there has been over the last few years, and there will be in the future in the more developed markets. So places like China and Southeast Asia have always had very strong growth, have very strong job growth.
Now Seek also does provide education offerings. How do they complement your job offering, and what are your long-term expansion plans for both?
Yeah, look, education fits very well with our jobs. In part, with our higher purpose, if you like, is to help people with their working lives. And in some cases, that means finding a better job. But in other cases, that means getting career-related education. So we can play a role in the latter, and we're really helping fulfil our purpose. And our goals are very ambitious. We're doing a very good job in Australia with education. We think we can do just as well in China, in Southeast Asia, and in our other markets. So rolling those same services out is the next step.
Finally, Andrew, now the 2015 financial year is in full swing. What do you believe will be the milestones that define the company over the next 12 months?
Oh, look, I hope to see international continuing to grow, possibly over 50% of our revenue and profit. I hope to see education continuing to grow. And we're hoping for a cyclical recovery in Australia at some point. We're starting to see early signs that means Australia also grows. So if all of our businesses grow, we'll be very happy.
Andrew Bassat, thank you so much for the update from Seek.
Thank you very much.